Hello everyone, in this video we will be discussing how to solve PYQs for UGC-NET. So I basically qualified my UGC-NET exam in the last cycle, which was the June 2024 cycle, which happened in the month of August. And in my entire preparation of UGC-NET exam, I have realized that one of the most important things that we need to take care of during our preparation is the previous year questions. Now, there are several ways of solving the PYQs, and people tend to solve it at different times of their preparation. What I have realized through my preparation is that it is very important to start solving PYQs as early as possible. So, I have come with this video because I think this will be very helpful for you to solve the PYQs in two approaches. Like, one is the approach during the preparation, and the other approach is during the exam. Now, what I mean by this is that approach for preparation is the approach you have to take when you're solving the PYQs to learn the PYQs, to understand the concepts involved in the question that is given. Actually, two things that you need to take care of is that when you are preparing for the exam, you have to understand every nitty-gritties of the question, okay, and prepare accordingly. That cannot be time bound, right? When you're solving a question in an exam, that is time bound, but when you're solving a question to learn from the question, it cannot be time bound, which is why I have divided the set into two approaches. One is the approach for preparation, and the other approach is the one you will be taking while solving it, like you're solving it in your exam, which is a timed practice. Like, you have to time yourself and see how you're being able to solve the questions. So starting from the approach for preparation, obviously here I'm talking about economics as the paper 2 subject. So there are two kind of questions you will be encountering. One is factual kind of questions, and the other one is numerical or conceptual kind of questions. Now, if I give you an example of the factual question first, let's see this question. Which one of the following is the apex body to coordinate the activities of all institutions involved in the rural financing system? So they have given four options to you, one being NABARD, second NSSO, third SEBI, and fourth RBI. Now, suppose you are solving the question at your home. This is the beginning of your preparation, or maybe you're in the middle of the preparation for UGC-NET. We have around like 35 to 38 days left. So this is a good time to start preparing in this kind of a pattern. And I can guarantee that if you are consistent, if you take out some time for solving maybe say 20 PYQs every day, you will be able to make it. I can guarantee that. Okay, just follow these steps. So here are four options that are given: NABARD, NSSO, SEBI, and RBI. Factual question basically means something that is associated with some kind of fact which you need to know. Here you don't have to use much brain to understand it. You don't have to use maths, or you don't have to use some kind of concept over here. You just need to know some facts over here. Say you know this answer, and this answer is NABARD. Now, you are in your preparation stage, so you cannot stop just here. Okay, when you're dealing with this question, you cannot stop here. The next thing you have to question is, what is rural financing system? From here you can get the keyword rural financing system, so you question that. What is NABARD? It is not sufficient to know that NABARD is the apex body which is coordinating all the activities of the rural financing system. There are so many other things to learn about NABARD. Which year was it established? Years are very important. Years, full forms, very important from a UGC-NET point of view. What is NSSO? Which year was it established? What is SEBI? Which year was it established? Same for RBI. Easiest thing to do is that you go to Google, you just write the names, or you just write whatever keyword you find in the question. Say you don't know what is a rural financing system. You go to Google, you go and type it, and you try to analyze and learn from there what is it. Whatever important things you find out, you just write it down in your notebook. Okay, whenever you are sitting to solve the PYQs, keep a separate notebook as for your notes. Now, never in UGC-NET an exact question gets repeated. Very rarely, like maybe in 2 to 3 years, you will get one question which gets repeated, like just as it has been given in the last years. But concepts repeat always. Every year. Like, if you are well versed with your PYQs, if you know everything that is written in your PYQ question paper, whichever question paper you pick up, at least 5 years, I would suggest do at least for last 5 years, you will surely qualify the exam. Because the questions that they give are very much related to the previous year questions. If you have carefully analyzed the previous year question, you will be able to pick up the keyword and you will be able to do the answer. You don't need to know everything in the question paper that comes. You just need to know the limited part that is associated with the answer. Like in this question, suppose you're in the exam hall now, and now you have this question. If you know about NABARD, you will be able to answer the question, right? So no matter what new things they give into the question, it does not matter. You need to know the answer. And in order to know the answer, the difficulty of net comes from the fact is that they will give the answer related to one thing that came last year, and with that they will give new options. Like next year, suppose in the next question paper, you will find that they have say given a question related to a similar question related to NSSO. Okay, say they give this with NSSO, they will give at least 2 to 3 options will be of the kind which you absolutely don't know. Okay, now suppose when you were in the preparation stage and you had not studied NSSO, you will not be able to answer that question. But if you have studied whatever is in the question itself, you don't have to go and look out for any other thing. Simply whatever is in the question paper, like when you're preparing through the previous year questions, whatever you're studying, like if you studied NSSO from here, you will be able to answer that question. Does not matter whether you know the other options or not, right? So it is very, very important to understand every keyword that is there in the question in the previous year questions and analyze them. Write down the notes of anything that you find important and keep revising them. Okay, so the key here is to find an answer to every question that comes to your mind. Okay, whenever you are looking at an answer, whenever you are looking at a question in the question paper while solving the PYQ in your preparation stage, try to analyze what keywords are there in the question and be inquisitive. Okay, ask questions like, okay, what is NABARD's role apart from being apex body of the rural financing system? Who made NABARD? How did NABARD came up? Who actually suggested NABARD to be made? All these questions, like even the most silly and simple questions, you have to write down. You have to at least go and check. Okay, it will still remain in your brain. Even if you cannot write everything, just write the important things, note down the important things in a systematic way, say like the year and the full form and things that you will tend to forget. But even if it is a silly question, simple question, just go and look into it. Just Google and check what the answer will be. It will somewhere remain in your head and it will help you in the exam. Okay, now coming to the numerical question type, numerical, or you could say conceptual. So here is a question: what would be the value of investment multiplier if MPC equals to MPS? They have given 4 options: 4, 3, 2 and 1. So this is a very conceptual and numerical kind of a question, as you can see. So while you're solving the PYQ at your preparation stage, like I said, you will be mathematically deriving the answer, right? Like say investment multiplier, we know the formula is 1 by MPS, and MPC plus MPS equals to 1, MPS plus MPS, because over here they have mentioned that MPC equals to MPS, so we put MPS in the place of MPC, which is equals to MPS plus MPS equals to 1, 2 MPS equals to 1, so MPS equals to 1 by 2, investment multiplier equals to 1 by 2, which is equals to 2 based on the formula. So the answer is option 3, 2. Again, your job does not end here. You have to ask why investment multiplier equals to 1 by MPS. What are the other multipliers? How do multipliers impact the economy? And whatever question literally that comes to your mind. One important and one very effective way that I used to use during my preparation, be it in terms of the factual questions or be it in terms of the numerical or conceptual question, is that I would first analyze the question. Say in a given day you do say 5 to 2 questions, and you realize that one question I do not know. I do not understand the concept very well. So you do your search, like I just said, you go through all the keywords that are there, you go to Google, you search about it and you write it down, you make the notes, but you are still not confident about it. Okay, you don't because these are very conceptual things, right? ISLM model, multipliers, or say consumer behavior, these are conceptual things, right? So you need to understand them very well. On the next day, I would decide, like previous night, while making the routine for what I'm going to do next day, the first 30 minutes to 1 hour I would give into active recall. That is the best and the most magical method you can use to really go to the depths of a concept. You cannot get that kind of a grip over a concept through passive reading. Just by reading through your ManQ or reading through your Samuelson, you can't have that kind of a grip over a concept unless you recall it yourself. So what I used to do is that I would take 30 minutes or 1 hour at the very beginning of my study session, and I would write down anything and everything I know about that concept. I would select a concept, the one that feels to be the most complicated one. So say suppose I realize that ISLM is difficult for me, so I would take out my notebook at the beginning of my study session and write down everything and anything I know about ISLM model. What I would do is that I would use a blue or a black pen to write the stuff that I am recalling, and if there is a question that comes to my mind, I would take a red pen and I would write that question just over there only. There itself I would write that this is the question, I do not understand this, or how is this happening, or how did this come up suddenly. Anything, any conceptual thing that comes to your mind, any factual thing that comes to your mind, any question that just comes to your mind. And once I have completely written down, once my active recall is done, I would go to Google, or I would go to my notes, or I would go to some book, and I would look for the answer to those questions, to those red marks that I have made, red questions that I have written. I would take a green pen and I would write the answer. This was magically helpful for me, magically helpful, because the next time when I come back and when I revise that active recall, because that itself has become a note for me, right? And that is made by me, that is customized by me based on my questions, my curiosity, my weaknesses. So it is very, very impactful, and this is very, very interesting method. You will not get bored while doing it. It would trigger curiosity in you, and it will also help you in studying the rest of the stuff that you're going to do that day. So that is how I used to revise it, and it helped me immensely. And you can try it. Just try it once and you will thank me later. I can guarantee on that. So this is how you are going to approach the questions for preparation when you prepare for your UGC-NET. Now, coming to the approach for exam, that is the timed practice. We know that in UGC-NET we have 3 hours in which we have to solve 150 questions, 50 being from paper 1 and 100 being from paper 2. A lot of students, and even I have been one of those students who would study well enough, but because of lack of practicing PYQs in a timed way, I would not be able to crack it. Okay, this has happened with me, which is why I understand how important it is to have an approach and have a method to solve a UGC-NET paper. And this does not happen just doing it the day before the exam. You cannot rely upon it doing it the day before the exam, which is why I am saying start it as early as possible. But one method that I have been able to crack while my preparation is that every question paper has a pattern. Lot of times it happens that we see the first question and we get very scared. Oh my god, first question, second question, third question, I don't know any of the questions. Now my confidence is going low, and that is how we mess up the entire exam. We even end up mistakenly answering the wrong options, even for the questions that we knew we could have answered. And that is the worst place to be in. So no question paper will be same, so it could really put you in a place of uncertainty when you're sitting in the exam hall and when you're seeing the screen and you see, oh, I don't know these questions. It is a very normal thing to happen for such a high level competitive exam, but you have to have an approach for that uncertainty. Okay, you have to predict beforehand that the exam paper is going to be unpredictable. The exam paper is going to be difficult enough to make me feel I don't know any of the questions, but because you know the method, because you know the tricks involved in the question that they want you to use while solving the question paper, you will be able to make it. So here's the trick that I personally used. First of all, know that in any question paper, for any exam, no matter how high level a competitive exam it is, there will be some questions that you will definitely know. Say 10 questions, say 20 questions, some questions you will definitely know. And no exam, at least UGC-NET, definitely does not demand from you to answer all the 100 questions correctly to qualify for the UGC-NET or the JRF. You have to answer as many questions as you can. That is the only thing. You have to put your mindset in this way that I don't have to answer 100 questions. I have to answer as many questions as I can. So the wise thing to do here is to start from the easiest questions, right? Now I'll show you how to carry this out during your exam. The strategy involved in this entire thing is identify the question category. Okay, I have divided the question category into 4 types, and if you are able to practice this way, if you are able to practice at least 2 to 3 times in this way, you will be able to crack UGC-NET for sure. See, there are 4 categories that I have identified myself. One is out of preparation question. Okay, you go to the hall, you see a question, and you see that you don't know anything about that question, or the keywords that are there, the concept that is asked, you don't know anything about that question. Let's say this example. Okay, they have given a match the following. Say you don't know who Rachel Carson is, who Kenneth Boulding is, who G. Harding is, who Bhartu Dashgupta is, and you don't know any of the concepts that are given on the right side. Or maybe you know maybe one and you are not being able to answer through that. The moment you encounter a question like this, within 10 seconds, 10 to 15 seconds, you can understand. Inner self of you knows that this is something I have not studied. Your immediate reaction will be skip the question. Okay, you don't have to use your brain and time to try to figure out, eliminate, do this and that. You don't have to do that right now, just because it came before the other questions in the exam, right? Just skip it. Don't waste your time over here. Okay, you have to maximize the utility in the scarce and limited time that you have been given, right? So this was the first kind of question category you will be able to identify, that this is an out of preparation question. Second category that we will come to is the large and wordy question who are non-doable. Okay, like let me give you an example. Say this is a large and wordy question for sure. You can see that there are so many words involved. There are so many equations involved, phrases involved, concepts involved. So you can analyze that this is a large and wordy question. Now again, using the same trick that you just used for the identifying the first category, which was the out of preparation question, within 10 to 15 seconds you understand, looking at the keywords, that this is not something that I have studied, or at least I'm not confident in it. I'm not very confident with price consumption curve. I have never done a logarithm that well. I'm not very good with these concepts. So within 10 to 15 seconds you are understanding. You don't even have to read the full sentences. In order to write an answer correctly in any exam, you have to read the full sentence. You cannot skip it. Okay, if you are attempting this question, you have to read the entire sentence, no matter how confident you are, because you never know what they enter into it. Maybe say a not or do not can make the whole difference. So never make the mistake to not read the entire sentence when you are actually attempting or answering the question. So when looking at the keywords, you realize that you're not very confident with this question. You will not be attempting this question. Okay, and which is why you will not be reading the whole sentences and analyzing, okay, let me try this, let me draw the rectangular hyperbola and see. You don't have to do that. This is not your cup of tea. This question is not your cup of tea. You will simply skip it. Okay, you will skip it immediately. Just by looking at it, you understand within 10 to 15 seconds, this is not my cup of tea, I skip it. No wastage of time. Okay, now going to the third category of questions, which are large and wordy question but doable. Okay, there are certain questions in the question paper. Say we are taking the same example only. This could be non-doable for some people. This could be doable for some people based on what you have studied and what you have not studied. So looking at this question, say I know what is price consumption curve. Say you know what is price consumption curve. Say you know how to use logarithm. But you know that this question is a wordy question and I will need some time to at least read it. Like I just said, never answer a question. No matter how confident you are, never answer a question without reading full sentences. Okay, so you are looking at the question and you know that this is a question that I can do. I'm confident in it. This is too wordy. It will take a lot of time. Right now, what you will do is that you will skip and you will add to review. In the computer screen, you get two options. You either attempt the question or you put it to review, right? That purple thing that it becomes purple, right? So you will do that. You will add it to review. You will come back to it later when I will say that later on in this video itself. Now, we are done with the first three categories: out of preparation question, large and wordy question but non-doable, large and wordy question doable. Now the last category is the advanced questions. Now let's take an example. So this question, say you know this question very well. Say by looking at this question, you know the answer to this question, or at least you know all the names, you know all the concepts, you know capability approach is given by Amartya Sen, PQLI is given by Maurice de Morris. So now looking at the options, you know that okay, C is number one, like C capability approach is given by Amartya Sen. So okay, I can cut out the rest, and so that is the answer. So you can easily at once analyze what the answer is going to be. this is the question that you will attempt. Okay, this is the question, this is the first round that we were talking about. All this while we were talking about the first round of reading, and this is the question you will be attempting in your first round of reading through the entire question paper. Okay, first time it comes to your screen, you know that you can do this, so you will attempt it then and there. Okay, it is attempted. Be careful. What I generally do is that I revise the question right after attempting it. Like, I don't leave it for later, like last 5 minutes or anything. I revise it then and there. Okay, say I have attempted the answer to be 1, but then I'll again check it right there. Okay, it takes much lesser time and it gives you a lot more of confidence that you have, at least you're confident that you have done it correctly. So these were the 4 categories of question that you need to identify during your practice and during your exam in order to answer the questions effectively. Okay, now there is this one last magical category, or I would say dangerous category of question that comes, which I have kept separately, which is the deceiving questions. Okay, deceiving questions, which basically means they look like they are at once questions, but they are not. Those are the questions the NTA or be any organization who set up any competitive exam, they use those questions to kill your time. Okay, they want you to ponder and ponder over those questions because your ego comes into play. You think, no, I know this question, I can answer this question, why will I leave it? This will give me 2 good marks. That is the most foolish thing you can ever do. Okay, I will give you an example of this question. It is a very famous question that came in 2024 June paper, like the August paper, and a lot of people had a lot of trouble. Even I faced trouble while solving this question. So this question, suppose Q equals to 20 by P and P is less than equal to 10, MC equals to 1, then profit maximizing price and quantity will be. This looks like a very innocent question. This looks like it will be solved by using our MR equals to MC formula of profit maximization, and we all attempted it. I'm sure everybody attempted this in the first chance. And in the middle of the question, you realize that it is not going to happen because MR comes to be 0 and MR equals to 0, MC equals to 1. So where are we exactly going? So that is when you realize that you cannot do this question. Okay, this is a time waster. So what is the trick to handle questions like these? What you need to do is attempt once. Okay, attempt once and see, is it going the way I expected it to go? If it is not going, just once, okay, you will not scratch it and try again and scratch it and try again. You're not going to do that. You're just going to attempt one the way you imagined it to be. If it's not happening, move on to next question. Leave it there. Move on to next question. You don't have to do it right now. Okay, it's a time waster. You have realized, you have identified the question right away that it is a deceiving question. It is not going to help. Okay, so you are going to move on from here. So the steps that you basically need to follow to answer the question paper is: round 1, you will attempt the at once questions. Round 2, when you're done with the entire question paper, you have done your at once questions, you will come back to those large and wordy questions which are doable. Okay, you will come back to the questions which are doable, that you know that I can do them, but they will need a little bit more of time. Maybe it's a numerical question that will involve calculations, or maybe it's a very long question that will need some time to be read. So you will come back to those questions and you will solve those questions. Okay, and round 3, any question that you can solve using the elimination technique, you will be solving them. If you follow the steps, round 1, round 2 and round 3, I am sure you will be able to answer way better as compared to you were doing all this while. Okay, because it might virtually seem that 3 times we are reading a question paper, even that is going to take a lot of time, but it doesn't. Practically, when you do it, you will see this is the most effective way of answering your question paper. Not only will you be answering more questions, you will be answering more right questions, and that is the whole point. It does not help to not have a plan and just haphazardly answer any question that comes to your way and then forget, oh, that one I did not answer, oh, was that even something that I marked? That's a lot of hustle. You have to be calm, and the way to be calm is to be well planned. Okay, and you can only do this in your exam if you have done this at least 2 to 3 times before your exam, be it using your PYQs, be it using your previous year question papers, or you can also use it for mock question papers you're solving. So this was all the steps involved, and in the next video I will also show you practically how this entire thing happens and how they are helping you save so much of time and solve your question paper. in a very timely and very plan oriented manner. So I hope you liked the video, and thank you so much for watching. I will see you in my next video.